In this presentation, let us go ahead and look into the most of the used web application pen testing browser add-ons. So starting off with, let us go ahead and know more about the HCON security testing framework. So basically, HCON STF framework is a semi-automated tool, but then it is basically a Mozilla Firefox variant. So it can be used in all kind of security testing stages. It has tools for conducting tasks like web application penetration testing, web exploits development, web malware analysis, and open source intelligence. So basically, who should use this HCON STF framework? So basically, it is very flexible and good enough for any sort of IT security professionals, bug bounty hunters who are a new class of hackers basically in today's world, and then web developers, then IT students, or anyone who's a security enthusiast or more interested in IT security. So features, so it is fully customizable, and it is more versatile in usage and can be used in many web-based hacking needs, and it's moreover simple and easy to use interface, and moreover it's small in size and also portable and light on resources. So it basically contains hundreds of features that are aimed at web application penetration testing, web exploits development, web malware analysis, and OSINT and cyber spying. So exploitation ready, then it is also known as it is basically very comprehensive, and it has got plenty of tools for exploitation, and it also supports verbose debugging features for web exploit development. So the web UI, okay, so HCON STF contains a blend of online and offline tools for penetration testing, and this is called as web UI, so which includes most of these scanners, encoders, and various other different tools. So there is another feature called as IDP, which stands for integrated database. So this contains a huge amount of data related to web payloads, such as the SQL injection or the cross-site scripting or the LDAP injection or command execution. So OSINT ready. So the HCON STF framework helps in many open source intelligence based tasks such as passive web and network recon, or doxing, or cyber spying, or hash cracking. So there are a huge amount of plugins that are actually found in this tool, so that counts up to more than 165 in number. So it is also obfuscation ready, so it has got plenty of encoding and decoding features and hashing features and tools. So it also supports wide variety of formats and character set and algorithms for making payloads undetectable. So it has got various different encryption and decryption schemes as well. So now coming to the reporting part, so it has got an enhanced reporting feature, so that contains many integrated useful reporting features such as taking screenshots, note taking, then session saving and exporting, then custom URL logging, then automated request logging. So coming to the Hacker Hybrid, so basically Hacker Hybrid is a set or a collection of huge amount of learning bookmarks, and this is really helpful for any hacker, because bookmarks and hackers tend to read more and more stuffs on the internet. So this is a whole library for any hacker, because it has got various different resources that are being brought in from various different parts on the internet and are being segregated as per what information they actually tend to give. So our next tool that we are going to be talking about is the Firebug, so which is also a Mozilla Firefox add-on. So the Firebug tool add-on is basically present in the HCON STF framework itself. So let us go ahead and know more about the Firebug add-on. So basically Firebug is a Firefox browser add-on again, so that allows us to edit, debug and monitor HTML, cascading style sheet and JavaScript on any web page, and it also allows us to explore the document object model to create CSS selectors in conjunction with JavaScript so as to create dynamic web pages. So the download link for this add-on is being given here, but then you can go ahead and even Google search online. So it's just a Google search away again. So working with Firebug, so basically Firebug is located in the editors and debuggers section of the HCon STF framework. You can go ahead and open it up from there, or you can either use the shortcut key, that is the F12. So basically the Firebug has got plenty of different tabs that are available in its console, in its UI. So the first tab basically is the console tab. So it is used to enter and execute JavaScript commands. So as we can see in the right panel, it generally displays JavaScript error message log. So the next tab is the HTML tab, which basically shows the HTML as document object model nodes in an indented format. So the individual nodes can be expanded or contracted to show or hide other child nodes. The CSS tab is used generally to display all CSS style sheets with the CSS inspector tab and modify the styles as per the user needs. So the next tab is the DOM tab. So basically this displays the DOM page objects and properties of the window. So the net tab displays all the requirement times for all HTTP requests for a given web page. So this tool is really handy for any developer or a tester to go ahead and change most of the value or the content in the web page, and it is best suited for finding vulnerabilities such as clickjacking or UI redressal attacks, HTML injection, and most of the security misconfigurations. So the next Firefox add-on that we are going to be talking about is the Tamper Data. So basically Tamper Data is a must-have Mozilla Firefox add-on in any of the web application penetration testers toolbox. So this is generally used by most of the penetration testers on the in the globe. So let us go ahead and know more about the Tamper Data, though the demo part of this will be again taken in a different video. But then let us go ahead and check out the PPT to gather more and more information about this particular tool. So introduction part. So Tamper Data is again basically a Firefox add-on which is generally used to view, record and modify outgoing HTTP requests. So with Tamper Data we can see the cookies that are being sent to the browser and what is the browser returning. So it is also used to check what kind of HTTP authentication is happening. Then it also is used to check whether the cookie has been marked secure or not. So there are various different columns in the Tamper Data. So these different columns in the Tamper Data actually mean these different things that are generally listed below here, given here. So the time column basically tells us the time when the request happened. The duration tells us how long it took to be retrieved. Then the total duration tells us how long it took to render. Then it also includes the response download time of item and all sub items. Then the size column basically tells us the size of received content. So the -1 here indicates the item that was loaded from the cache. Then the method column here, it indicates the HTTP method issued, whether it was get or post. Then the status column again tells us about the HTTP status code that was received. Then the content type column here tells us about the type of data that was received. Then the URL column here again tells us more about the URL of request. Then the load flags again tells us the load flags column tells us about the additional HTTP information used in retrieving or rendering the content. So basically these are different columns that are generally there in the Tamper Data Mozilla Firefox add-on. But then this is a completely theory, but then we really need to know about all these before going ahead and performing our demo. So this is basically the how the Tamper Data actually looks like. So we could see here the various different columns that are present in the Tamper Data. So this particular Mozilla Firefox add-on is majorly helpful in finding SQL injection, cross-site scripting, then cross-site request forgery, then most of the security misconfigurations, then authentication related vulnerabilities, and plenty of many other more vulnerabilities as well. So next we are going to go ahead and check out another Mozilla Firefox add-on called as the Live HTTP Headers. So basically Live HTTP Headers is pretty similar to the Tamper Data add-on. So but the method, the way actually how the Live HTTP header does is pretty different from how the Tamper Data actually does its work. So as in we were able to see Tamper Data actually has got various different columns, but then in Live HTTP headers it just tries to record the header information, and which allows the user to go ahead and replay any sort of request or any sort of parameter that could be changed and again resent to the server. So basically again the Live HTTP headers is again a Mozilla Firefox add-on, so which is generally used to view a website's header information. So HTTP header information is really useful during a penetration testing, so as to know how the application is communicating with the server. So header information generally contains data such as the character set, the language, the caching, then the authorization and content expiration. So this tool really comes in handy during a web application penetration testing. So again, this is one of the tools that is a must-have for any sort of penetration tester, and it is moreover used by most of the penetration testers across the globe. So this tool is best suited for finding vulnerabilities such as SQL injection, cross-site scripting, then cross-site request forgery, then most of the security misconfigurations, then vulnerabilities that are related to authentication, that is authentication related vulnerabilities, and many other more different vulnerability types. So next Firefox add-on that we're going to be talking about is the Hackbar extension. So basically this is an extended version of the URL bar, which allows the hacker or a penetration tester to go ahead and check for any sort of issues with the URL or the parameters in the URL. So let us go ahead and see how this thing actually works. So for a site owner, it is really important to safeguard their site from most of the attacks that could be performed using whether it be the Tamper Data or Live HTTP headers or various other different add-ons. So in the defense part, let us see how this could probably be avoided by the site owners. So basically the first would be the client-side validation is one of the major defenses that could be implemented as a part of the defense, so which is really important so as to safeguard one's site from most of the attacks. And moreover, validation should be performed at every tier, and then the implementing integrity checks to ensure that the data is not tampered. So this actually plays a major role in so that the data is integrated, and then we need to make sure that the data is not just validated but is also business rule correct. But then one of the major things would be that implementation of a web application firewall, which could actually prevent most of the attacks to some extent, because even most of the times it is possible for an attacker to bypass the web application firewall, but then in most of the cases it is possible for a WAF to prevent most of the attacks. So Hackbar is again a Mozilla Firefox add-on that actually comes in handy for testing vulnerabilities such as SQL injection, cross-site scripting, and various security misconfigurations in the web application. So it is majorly useful for developers to test their code for security issues. So some of the main features of this particular Mozilla Firefox add-on is post data manipulation, then referrer string manipulation, then the implementation of SHA-1 and SHA-256 encryption, then ROT13 encryption, then XSS strings. So this particular tool is best suited for finding vulnerabilities such as SQL injection, cross-site scripting, or any or most of the security misconfigurations. So now let us go ahead and have a demo on all these tools that we were actually talking about in the presentation.